Fixing your posture doesn't have to be made up of just boring corrective exercises. In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can add some size to your arms, but also fix your posture at the same time. I'm gonna show you exercises for two different types of postures. One for if you have more of this slouched forward head posture right here, and also exercises for if you have more of this extended flat back, but also rib flare posture. Now let's talk about the goals for each posture. The first one, this kind of slouched forward head posture, this one requires us to open up the chest. And in my content, I talk a lot about the need for the ribs to expand with every breath we take. We need the front ribs to expand, we need the back ribs to expand, but these people typically have a limitation in their ability to open up the front ribs with every breath they take. So a lot of this is going to drive expansion at the front side of the chest, but also put the arms in an optimal position to be trained. For the other posture, more of the extended posture like this, typically they have ribs that poke up down here. They typically have more of a flatter back, but they also have a pelvis that is typically more tilted forward. And so they have an increase in their low back arch because that pelvis is being tipped forward in space. That's flaring up the low ribs and that's compressing the back. So what we want to do is we want to open up the back side of the rib cage to expand. So we want to bring these ribs down and stack the head over the ribs, over the hips better, and just create more space for elongation and expansion of the ribs back here because that's their restriction. Now I'm gonna show you both a triceps and a biceps exercise for both of these postures, but keep in mind that both of these exercise types drive different mechanics at the shoulder and the rib cage, so there are benefits to using one versus the other, and I'm gonna talk about that briefly. A curl activity which trains the biceps is usually going to create a little bit different of a shoulder position. This is what we call flexion of the elbow right here. And what this is typically going to bias us towards is as we flex the elbow, the scapula moves a little bit further away from the midline of the body or the spine. So that helps move this away and that helps create space on the backside of our rib cage to expand and open up. This can be advantageous if we want to help decompress the back. A tricep extension activity is kind of the opposite. Because the elbow is extending and straightening, that has more of a predisposition for the scapula to move closer to the spine. So this extension drives internal rotation of this arm right here, and that drives the scapula back and down more so, because the long head of your triceps muscle actually attaches on this outside border of your shoulder blade. So when it contracts, it actually pulls it in naturally as a product of that movement. So if this shoulder blade is being pulled back, that closes off space on the backside of the rib cage, but that promotes more opening and expansion of the front side of the rib cage. So there are advantages to curls to open up the back and extension activities to open up the front. This is a bicep curl variation that's really good for opening up the chest and good for those people that tend to be in this slouched posture right here. So find a cable machine and get 2 handle attachments and make sure that your arms are just about 10 to 15 degrees behind your body. It doesn't need to be way back there. This is just all you need right here. And then have your feet straight ahead, hip width apart. Bend your knees very slightly, keep your weight evenly distributed throughout your foot. Now, keeping your eyes straight ahead and your sternum up without overly flaring your rib cage. Just pivot from your elbow as you exhale and curl until your forearm is around parallel with the ground. You don't need to go way up here. And then inhale and slowly lower through your nose, and you're gonna feel your chest expand. It should feel really nice. Make sure it's controlled. Full exhale. Pause. Full inhale. And then just go through sets of 10 to 15 reps. Couple of things to keep in mind is that the cable machine should be set low enough to where you have a pretty straight line from the top of your shoulder joint all the way down through the cable to the bottom of it where it's attached. Also, make sure that your elbows are staying around the same level. They might move a little bit more forward, but you don't want them to necessarily hike up or have them come too far forward like this. Let your shoulders be back a little bit because the cables are naturally allowing them to stay back. Okay, this next one is a curl that's good for people that have that extended posture. This is gonna open up some space in the back ribs to expand. So for this, we need a bench set at a low incline. Now, ideally it's a bench where you can have your chin just gently, comfortably rest on the edge right here to keep your neck relatively neutral. Now for these extended people, they're gonna be biased towards being in this position right here. They're gonna arch their low back. So I want you to consciously do a posterior pelvic tilt, and I want you to feel like your low back is flattening out a little bit. And you wanna maintain that. If you need to put something like a pillow right here underneath your low ribs, you can do that, and that will help you passively achieve that. Now, you're gonna grab 2 dumbbells, and again, real light is better than too heavy. I just have 20 pounds here. It's nothing serious at all, but I will feel it. So you wanna just let your arms hang straight down from your shoulders, and you want to then turn your wrists and hands away from each other, just like this. And then you're going to let your shoulder blades move away from your spine. It's not this, it's what we call protraction, where we kind of just let the arms fall as you do this motion. Now, exhale as you pivot from your elbow up, so that way your forearms get parallel to the floor or around that area. And then inhale through your nose as you lower that weight in a controlled way. Finish off that inhale right here, and then exhale back up, making sure you're not swinging your elbows one direction or the other, and you're just pivoting from there and controlling the weight. As you inhale and finish off that inhale at the bottom of the rep, as long as you're keeping some movement of the shoulder blades away from the spine at all times, you should feel some expansion in between your shoulder blades and your spine, and it should feel very nice. Just make sure that you're keeping that tilt of your pelvis just a little bit. Something to keep in mind is you want to maintain less than a 90-degree angle of your arm relative to the position of your trunk right here. Now, if it's more comfortable, you could let your arms come a little bit more forward and do it here, but I find that I just spend more energy keeping them out. I like to just have them fall and then have that angle naturally be less than 90 degrees and then just go through the motion. The other thing to keep in mind is you don't need to curl too high. Just stopping where your arms are relatively parallel to the floor is all you really need to do. The bicep doesn't have much more leverage to curl beyond there anyway. So you're getting a pretty maximum stimulus stopping right about here regardless. The last thing is, as you start to get a little bit tired, make sure you're not lifting your chest like this. Make sure you're keeping that shoulder blade away from the spine in tension and breathing and controlling it. If you like these exercises and this type of an approach, check out my Symmetric Strength weight training program. It's designed for anyone to be able to do, and it can be individualized to your own goals and needs. And it's designed to tackle so many different postural and movement limitations while also helping you build some muscle and strength. So if you want to learn more, check it out down below. This is a triceps activity that's going to open up the chest. So good for those people that have that slouched posture. For this, you need a cable machine and a handle attachment. You wanna pull down and start here, so that way you have around a softball's distance in between your elbow and your side right here. You want your feet straight ahead, and you can hold on to this for support and stability if you want. Now, keeping your eyes straight ahead, you wanna just first exhale, feel your rib cage come down without depressing your sternum. Now, inhale, feel that chest open up a little bit, just in of itself right there. And then exhale again. Just extend that elbow and have the intention of trying to move your arm slightly behind your body like that. And it doesn't actually need to move behind your body, but it's the intention which is gonna drive that scap down and back, which is gonna help open up that chest. So sit here for a second, begin the inhale. Finish off the inhale as you come to the starting point, just moving from your elbow. Exhale again. So if you notice, I have the cable set up so that I have a pretty straight line and a parallel line of the cable and the resistance running through my arm right here. That is gonna be key for aligning the resistance with the muscle fibers of the tricep.
This next exercise is great for people that have that extended flared posture like this. This is gonna help get those ribs down and flatten out the back, but also open up the upper back to expand. So we're gonna get in a 90-degree bend at both our knees and our hips with our feet up on a bench like this right here. Now make sure your chin is passively pointed up towards the ceiling. Grab those weights and then push them up directly like this, keeping your wrists neutral like that. And then I like to go one at a time. So I like to inhale back, exhale up, pivoting at just my elbow. Inhale back, exhale up, right there. And I'm maintaining some space between my shoulder blades and spine on the floor. I'm not squeezing my shoulders back. I'm also not letting my shoulders dump forward. I'm just gently feeling that space in between my shoulder blades and spine to allow my shoulder blade to naturally move as it needs to through this process and exercise. And that will help me open up that space back there nicely.
Now keep in mind that it's not like you're gonna do these exercises a couple of times a week and you're magically going to improve your posture and everything is gonna be fixed. These are pieces to a bigger puzzle. Oftentimes to fix your posture, you need lifestyle changes. You need more specific corrective exercises, but this is one of those big pieces, and that training can reinforce good patterns and posture and movement that can help pull everything together. So I want you to be realistic about the outcome of this, but this can certainly help quite a bit.